morning, everybody. We are headed to the woods this morning. See if we can go get some more meat in the freezer. We wanted to try something new. It's going to be something that we're not going to be able to do a lot of this year because I thought about it at the end of the season, but trying to do some small podcasts on the way to the deer stand or wherever you're going to hunt at location, just doing a small little talking point on a couple things on your way there. So this morning I've got my brother Mason. They came down from Alabama yesterday, drove in, and he's gonna be my cameraman this morning, and we're gonna try to see if we can get a deer on the ground. Mason, if you want to, just introduce yourself and we'll go from there.
Yeah, my name is Mason. I'm 17, a senior in high school, and from Alabama. So we killed a deer this morning.
Oh yeah. So our three main talking points this morning. It's not going to be anything super in depth, whatnot. This daggum camera's giving me a hard time. Three things I want to talk about. First is, Mason, you would probably agree with me. You don't get to hunt as much as you per se would want to hunt. Just don't have enough opportunities throughout the year. But from the time, our dad's was real good about getting us in the woods, real early, giving us a place to grow, a deer camp to grow up at, make friendships and relationships. But what would you say is an impact that deer hunting can have on the lives of other people?
Yeah, I'd say it definitely gives them a better sense of what hunting's about. Like the reality of life. It's not butterflies and rainbows. There's life and there's death, and I guess the reality of death.
That's a good point. I like to look at it also too, like it teaches young people, if you are able to get your kids out in the woods, or if you were out in the woods when you were a kid. I look back on it now, and it teaches you a way of responsibility. Teaches at some point teaches you discipline. Being able to decipher on whether or not, am I going to kill this deer? Is this deer old enough to be killed? Is this a deer I feel comfortable shooting? And also it gives you a level of learning obedience. Because I know, like with me, I can't necessarily remember when you started doing it, but I remember like with me, if I remember correctly, and I may be wrong, I think I was hunting by myself with walkie-talkies. Dad, 300 yards through the bottom there, but we had walkie-talkies that we communicated with. But if I remember correctly, I was about 12 years old when I started hunting by myself. So that takes a lot of maturity, but it takes a lot of I don't even know the word I'm looking for. A lot of trust. Dad had to trust me in me being obedient to the way he wanted to do things, and the way he wanted to do things, but the right way to do it, the safe way to do it.
Definitely goes back to that responsibility thing, like with safety. I think that's another big thing, is it teaches safety. Like being around guns, being in the woods, like being aware of your surroundings. It teaches that.
Oh, 100%. 100%, because it's pretty wild to think about, but I know a bunch of people. I say a bunch of people. I know of people, their kids, they wouldn't know what to do. And it's not the kids' fault, and it's not the parents' fault. Some people just don't hunt. Some people just don't live in the outdoors. They don't You know, not necessarily, not that they don't want to be in outdoors, they just don't have an opportunity.
Right.
But you would be surprised at the amount of people that don't know how to load a gun. They don't know how to handle a rifle. They don't know even what a rifle is. They don't know what a shotgun is. And you know, that's where you run into problems later down the road whenever these kids turn into grown-ups, and you know, they think they need, well, you know, I'm grown now, so I need a shotgun, or I need a pistol to put in my house, or this, that, or the other. And then you run into all kinds of problems. They don't know how to load it. They don't know how to clean it, which they learn. But I feel like with hunting, and all types of hunting, you know, turkey hunting, squirrel hunting, duck hunting, all kinds of bird hunting, you know, you use a shotgun. Deer hunting, big game hunting, you use a rifle or a bow. You know, and I think that allows a lot of growth for people that at the time they don't really realize they're going to need it, but later on down the road, eventually you're going to have your hands on a weapon. And you know, I would prefer to know kind of, you know, what I'm doing.
Well, also, I mean, like, this is like the worst effect of that. You could have the opposite effects. You know, like, people can grow up with misconception about guns, about hunting, and they can think it's horrible because they've never done it before. They don't know the reality of it. And I mean, then you have the whole anti-gun, anti-hunting, and I mean that's all because they don't know anything about it. And then this narrative's pushed, and they listen to that narrative rather than the people who actually do it. So
yeah, that's a really good
that's
point.
the other way.
And man, the next thing I was wanting to discuss is, you know, there's all types of different ways to hunt, all types of different hunting. But I guess the question I'm wanting to ask is, what does hunting do for the wildlife? And I know a lot of people, you know, well, you're killing everything, so it can't be good. Well, I know, like, say, where we live in the South down here, and one of our biggest issues in the South is hogs. So if we didn't hunt and people didn't kill those hogs, I mean, we're already overran with them as it is. Could you imagine if we weren't allowed to hunt, or we couldn't hunt and kill hogs? Yeah. Same thing with the deer. If you take away hunting, wildlife is overran. There's no way to monitor it. There's no way to keep it in a good balance. So what would you say? You know, what would you say is another way that it helps wildlife?
Well, I mean, I'm just gonna say, you know, if you don't keep the pig population, because they're an invasive species, right? If you don't keep that population down, well, they're gonna take the food source, and that's gonna affect all the other wildlife. It's a domino effect, all right. And when it affects a certain species, then that effect of that certain species is gonna affect another species. So it's all about keeping it balanced out. And I mean, like everything, you can overdo stuff, right? That's why we have we have a certain amount of time in a season, a certain amount of deer we are able to kill. Like, you know what I'm talking about? I can't think of the word.
It's like it's just regulations.
Regulation for, like, yeah.
It's a regulation for the amount you can kill of each, but right. There's a reason that's set in place.
Exactly.
And there's a reason that does at times fluctuate. We went from, I may be butchering this too, but if I'm looking at my tags, I'm thinking I'm correct. We went from a 6-bag limit of deer down to 5, which wasn't a drastic drop, but that was one deer they took away from each person. So at the end of the day, at the end of the season, that ends up being a whole lot of deer when you look at it on the grand scheme of things. And I believe the main reason they did that is because the deer numbers are they're down real bad, and I think that is the effects of hunting on wildlife. I think it goes even further, and you can say trapping. Dude, used to, people trapped all the time. nobody traps anymore. You have people that work for the state that trap, but man, they can only do so much. So now what you run into is all the old heads that were trapping all the time back in their heyday. Now all them coyotes, all them bobcats, all the big predators, they're not getting caught. They're not getting killed unless you shoot them off the deer stand. So now you have those animals plus the hogs, because they'll eat anything. Don't necessarily know if I've ever seen one kill an animal, but I know for a fact they'll eat anything. So now you add those big predators in the mix. That not takes a knock on your turkey population. That takes a knock on your deer population. That takes a knock on your turkey population all the way around. The only thing it really does not affect is your hog population, just because of the fact, a coyote and a bobcat will kill a hog just as easy as they will a deer. But the reason I didn't really say the hog is because the hog reproduces so fast,
so much,
that it don't matter. So now you take away the trapping, you take away the people that used to somewhat keep it in balance. When that's gone, there is no balance. And I honestly feel like that's the main reason why you're seeing a decrease in the deer population. It's also got something to do with the CWD. I know that is a factor. I know somebody's probably going to say, well, no, the CWD did take a pretty big hit, but that literally was here for like 1-2 years, and then I have not heard of any other cases. If I'm wrong, correct me, but I know where we're located that we have CWD zones, and I myself have not heard of any new cases since a couple years ago. I know the Game and Fish ran a big test in a couple of those areas after season, and I don't think any of them came back positive. Might have, might not. I don't know if I'm wrong. Please let me know in the comments. But I think if you don't have hunting, if you don't have any type of conservation, it's chaos. I really do. I know I love turkey hunting. That's probably behind. It's probably in front of deer hunting to an extent. But I know that the turkey numbers where we're located here in the South have went drastically down. It is just about impossible to get in front of a bird here, and it ain't really necessarily. The numbers are down, yes, but also the season's so late that by the time we're allowed to hunt them, which I know why they're doing it to where we can try to grow some numbers. So they're making it harder on the people hunting them to where it'd be a little bit easier for the turkeys to reproduce and be able to make it, to the next year. But I just think that I'm going around Laura's house, but hunting for wildlife is most definitely a positive. What would you add to that?
People act like we haven't been doing it for the last 10,000 years.
Hey, you're right.
You know what I mean? It's in our genes. 200 years ago, they had to hunt to survive. They didn't get food on the table; they died.
That's right.
So, it's not just something we started up right now. It's been happening for a long time. So that's all I really gotta say. You said you got everything else now on the head.
This leads to my last question. We can kind of ramble after that, or we can close it up. But what has hunting meant to you?
Man,
it ain't got to be no deep answer, but if that's what it's meant to you, that's what it's meant to you. But what has what has hunting meant to you from the time, growing up to now?
Man, well, when I think of hunting, I just think of spending time with my dad, my grandfather, and my brother. So, I mean, as much as I love hunting, as much as I love it, as fun and fulfilling as it is for me, like being able to spend time with my family, it's been a huge part of my life. I mean, being able to learn lessons with them while out in the woods. I mean, I can't ask for a better opportunity in life than that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I piggyback off of that. I took, I got a kid of my own now, and I took him for the first time this year. We went out it was literally like 30 minutes, 40. It probably was 30 minutes before dark when we got to the stand, because we knew he wasn't going to sit very long. Me and my wife loaded him up, took him out there, and I finally got to feel and understand the way Dad's felt all these years. Just being, it didn't matter if we killed anything. We did end up somehow, grace of God, we killed something. I don't even know how that was possible, but we did I killed a doe that day. But didn't have a care in the world. Didn't care if we saw anything. Didn't necessarily care if he was quiet. I mean, he wasn't quiet. He was banging everything around. He was. As soon as we shut the door on the deer stand, he said, "I want to get out." He had a good time, but he didn't really understand completely what we were doing. He just knew we were in the woods looking for deer. But as long as I can remember, that's the way we were raised. I mean, from the time we were able to walk, and Dad could, get us out there and get us started, we were. I mean, I know for me, like with you, I mean, you were like, I don't even know if I may have been that little when I started, but like Dad had so much help when you were here that man, you were like little bitty.
Yeah.
Walking around on Papa's shoulder, it just
Right.
You weren't necessarily hunting, but like when it comes to getting out there and putting feed out, stuff like that, like you were always with us. And I know for me, not necessarily that I loved the family time, I loved the deer camp experience, I loved being able to hang out with everybody, family, Papa, Dad, you. But another thing, to go even further on answering that question, hunting in general, not necessarily just deer hunt, but hunting in general has taught me a lot of different things. It's taught me, like we talked earlier, it's taught me responsibility. It's taught me, being responsible enough as a 12-year-old to take a rifle, high-powered rifle, go sit in a deer stand and be able to decipher on, which at 12 years old I can shoot anything I want to, but you know what I'm saying, like being able to decipher, okay, that's a mature, that to me, that's a mature deer. Or being able to fail and say, okay, well, I didn't, being able to decipher whether or not, the animal was mature enough to kill or not to kill. It taught me respect in a sense, like I try now. I don't do it every time, and I guess I should. And this isn't something that we did whenever we were kids. But I've started now, just out of respect for the animal and thankfulness. I try to pray over whatever I kill, because at the end of the day, that's a gift from God. Not everybody, or not every time I go am I going to be able to be blessed with meat. I mean, I've been blessed this year because I've actually, I guess you could say, tried and actually went after them. But I've been able to fill my freezer with food that I'm not going to have to buy from the store. It's not going to be man, that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
But you know, it's going to be good for my family. You understand what I'm saying? So I just think, you know, to me, family time, respect, obedience, responsibility. I think those are, you know, the main points of what I have gathered and gained from just being really not even just a hunter, just a sportsman in general. You know, trying to just be the best I can be at that. So, man, I appreciate everybody listening that has made it this far. I know the screen's vibrating like crazy, and we're kind of new at this, so this may not be the best so-called podcast you're going to listen to today or whenever you're listening, but we do appreciate everybody that is watching our channel and is sticking around and coming back, and we've got some plans going forward for 2025. We're learning new things every day. This is something that everybody would like and would like to see next hunting season. Just let us know. Give us some ideas, some talking points, because normally when we go to where we're going, it's at least a 30 to 40 minute ride before we even get to the parking lot. So we got plenty of time to talk about stuff. We got plenty of time to do these. So if y'all are interested in seeing this, just drop a comment below. Let us know how you like it. This was just a trial run, so if we don't get a lot of feedback, we may not do it. But we appreciate everybody. Thank y'all for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe, and we'll catch y'all in the next video.